Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Anthony Petruzzelli, and today I'm going to be talking about artificial intelligence. My main point in this speech is so that you have a better understanding of what it is, where it came from, and the future outlook and how it will affect your life as well as a global unit. In the modern world, the advancement of technology has become a modern highlight of this generation. A standout of these discoveries is the topic of artificial intelligence. What was once considered a science fictional construct derived from theorists is now today's reality. And its rate of progress increases significantly. With this rapid progress, the future of corporate and personal functionality and AI integration will make the impossible obtainable. So what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is basically the theory and development of computer systems and how they do tasks normally done by humans. Siri is a virtual assistant that we have today. The origins and where it came from all goes back to 1950. Back then, mathematicians, philosophers, and scientists all thought, what if there's something out there? What if this new invention of a computer can do things for us? Because at the time, in the 1950s, all computers could do was do a simple calculation. And another important factor was that they had limitation in their advancements. So these computers were only able to do these simple calculations, but not remember what they did. It was like from point A to point B. In the 1980s was when AI was finally revisited by these theorists and scientists and mathematicians. But now the corporate world had an interest in it. Now that technology had advanced to the point where now PCs are coming in more homes and it was a spark in the industry. There was two innovations finally created that were called deep learning, which helps computers learn using experience, and expert systems, which is basically how a computer can act like a human in decision making, as well as remember those experiences. In the 1990s and 2000s was finally when artificial intelligence's goals of doing these tasks that humans would normally do was finally achieved. And they were able to do more challenging tasks by itself. And finally, robotics were introduced to society, and they were able to do speech recognition. This was created by Dragon Systems, so it could recognize who was talking, what language they were talking in. And another big example that took the world by storm was IBM's creation of Deep Blue. This was an artificial intelligence created to compete with the world-class champion of chess and defeated that person. It was the first time that it was broadcasted that a machine beat a human. I want to reiterate too that these advancements were ideas that were thought of even way back in the 50s, but the funding wasn't there. So these ideas weren't new, it was the fundings that made the possibilities happen. In today's world, it's literally all around us. We live in an age called the big data age. And what is big data? Big data is a collection of large sums of information, too much for one person to process. This is a collection of information from a medical center or a group of medical centers with all bits of information. World-class transactions between major corporates. This is millions of files of people, products, anything. And for even a team of, let's say, 250 people to do that would require 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours manpower. So now artificial intelligence is integrated to help that, using algorithms and formulas. And the two laws that were created in the 80s, which have now been modernized, still live up to this day. It helps us assist in banking between transactions, marketing for business decision making for the most accurate and best route for the company, entertaining, if any of you have Netflix, which I'm sure a lot of us have, It'll say recommended videos or other popular videos, and that's all because an AI is looking at what recent videos were watched, what statistics are from other companies, box office and everything, calculating all of that information within seconds, and then showing you just a little strip at the bottom of your video, at the end of your video. Technology itself is also being revolutionized by artificial intelligence. It's being implemented into old products as well as majority of new products. There's something called Moore's Law, and this is a common phrase, even it's a hot word in media today, that is the observation made by Intel in 1965. And it's basically, it sums up how our technology will and has advanced throughout the years. And they say every year, the processing power of a microchip, the brain of your computer, doubles every year. But what we're noticing now is that that improvement, that progress is now plateauing. We're reaching a point where there's really nothing new, and now companies are doing like, oh, let's just add a couple more megapixels to your camera so you have a better picture, or oh, let's make the screen bigger. They're getting to that point where it's a little gimmicky, but the true artificial intelligence nature of it, the construct of what it is still only slight. So in our immediate future, this is the main interest of the technology industry. Artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality are three things that are the focus of what computer scientists and theorists are looking at, because this is basically how we're going to shape our future. Things are becoming too complicated for humans to do. The demand for it is becoming too complicated, and the thing about artificial intelligence is it's not trying to replace humanity, it's trying to help us so we can better ourselves, so that we can become more of who we are now. The translation and human conversation between human and machine, creating more of a seamless system. So sometimes you might say a command to your virtual assistant on your phone, and it might not go right. So in the near future, there's more algorithms and bug fixes that are constantly being made every single day, not just by the AI itself, but by people too. It's a team effort, and they work synergistically together so that this way you can have the best experience with your assistant as possible and the most accurate experience. And another thing that we're seeing too is autonomy, driverless cars, where cars are now driving themselves on a highway. We've seen it with Tesla. We see it with now BMW. And now people are coming up with ideas for a car to park itself in a garage, drop you off at the main entrance, park itself, and then when you leave, like say, a shopping mall or a hospital, the car will be waiting for you outside. It's its own chauffeur for you. And the long-term goal for artificial intelligence is general intelligence. Now, general intelligence is basically a machine that surpasses the cognitive human abilities, and in all tasks. So a machine that not necessarily thinks better than you, but thinks what is better for you, and not in a demanding way. Everything, even when you get a notification on your phone about an update or anything like that, it asks you. Everything is a question. Do you want to do this? Do you agree to this? And now, through the fine-tooth comb and everything of making sure that no one is compromised with their own rights as a person, they are only looking out for the best for you. And general intelligence is basically the supreme, it's like artificial intelligence on steroids. And we're getting closer and closer to that too. Two things that I mentioned earlier about how in the 50s, the two processes, how AI actually works is deep learning and natural language processing. Deep learning trains the computer to perform human-like tasks, so these are things like it trains it to recognize speech, identify images, and make predictions for you about things that you would want, or simple things like what is the next letter that you're going to type on your keyboard. Another quick thing is that the iPhone keyboard itself will have a map of all the little touch areas of where the letters are. So that's how it recognizes, I'm going to press L, I'm going to press this. So because the keyboard itself is smaller, it's easy to press 2 buttons at once. But the artificial intelligence inside your phone recognizes, oh, you pressed A, and it's capital, and you type Anthony a lot, so your next one's going to be N. So that touch field, that touch point for the letter N becomes bigger, so that it knows not to type the wrong letter, or type 2 letters, or not type at all. It avoids using advanced equations, so this way it makes it faster and quicker. And it sets up certain guidelines created by the data that the AI analyzes, and it trains the computer to learn on its own. It recognizes patterns. The second one is natural language processing, and simply this just helps the computer understand, interpret, and manipulate human language. So the importance of AI is to carry out large quantities of information or commands repetitiously with no fatigue and supreme reliability. It incorporates intelligence to existing products, like Siri integrated to Apple, Alexa on Amazon, Google's AI in Android phones. And these smart devices, quote unquote, helps collect data, so that this way it could help do analytics for system diagnostics or for promotional reasons too. It's adaptive, so the computer can learn to adapt to its environments and queries through self-training. It analyzes more and deeper into data, so it finds hidden layers in a network. Basically, this is the building blocks for fraud detection for financial companies. And it provides full utilization of data. So this is used for competitive advantages for companies. So when you buy something from Target for diapers, then you're going to start seeing coupons for Pamper or other diaper companies, like the best sales. And that's because the AI is recognizing your address and your transaction and all that information, and it's sending those information. It's a computer that's sending you those advertisements, not a person. So how it's used in society today for AI allows people to do more things that have never been done before. It's all data-driven, so it can do things on its own, but it requires data. So AI can't exist without humans, because humans are the data. And it helps humans make new discoveries and improvements to life. So for instance, with healthcare, it can help assist personalized medications and x-ray readings, as well as it can act as life coaches in the simple palm of your hand to remind you to take your pills and medications, and a reminder for exercise. It can detect heart rates, and to just simply eat healthier. For manufacturing reasons, it analyzes factory data streamed from factory equipment. So it could prep the factory equipment for what kind of load or demand that's coming in and what it needs to do, as well as demand within the company. So if there's maintenance needs and stuff like that, the AI can pick it up and automatically alert whoever needs to be alerted. For retails, for virtual shopping, personalized recommendations based upon your previous purchases, like I had mentioned, and as well as finding the best deals for you, and improving stock management as well. And Amazon uses AI to price their products. So a computer is literally pricing everything for you. For banking, database management, which is huge, for one or a team of people to work on millions of people, and the importance of somebody's financial identity, their security and protection, that's all protected by AI that's constantly reevaluating any anomalies, any issues. So even if you're out and it recognizes that there's a weird location that made a transaction, you'll notice your car gets locked, and then you have to call the sales representative, and they have to type it in the computer. This is all an AI that locks it for your own protection. It's annoying, but it works. And for enterprise reasons, again, statistical analysis for purchase and decision making. So the best business decisions based upon what's good for the company. The future outlook and the progression of AI, it's constantly evolving and improving, like I mentioned. And one thing that is definitely even rising now is quantum computing. It's a whole other form of how a computer works. Right now, computers work off of electrical currents. And you might see like zeros and ones, and you see it in Hollywood, they're typing all these codes and everything. And, oh my God. These zeros and ones represent the on and off states of that electrical current. 0 means off, 1 means on. And the series of that is basically the DNA that makes up a program, the very, very atomic value of it. So what quantum computing does, in a nutshell, is basically instead of using electricity to create these currents, and since zeros and ones, it can either be on or off, it's either one or the other. What quantum computing does is it uses particles, and it uses atoms, and its power is able to introduce probability. So with that kind of power, one quantum computer can be equivalent to over 300,000 standard computers. And with that kind of power implemented into artificial intelligence, it'll basically be the same power of the human brain, if not more. With that kind of power in the artificial intelligence, we can see healthcare revolutionized, prosthetics that can not only mimic neurotransmitted messages, but also sensation and coming from metal, and seamless activity from the brain, as well as increase in self-driving cars. Again, it's going to be the most dominant form of driving, and basically it's going to be sitting in a car, kind of like how you would in an airplane. There's a pilot. The pilot is now a computer, and now it's in cars. And for security reasons, ID recognition, supreme identity protection, and impossible fraud attacks, knowing that it's you and no one else, and without a question. So in conclusion, the daily activity of society is constantly and increasingly intertwined with technology and the integration of artificial intelligence. The reliance on this technology has reached the point where artificial intelligence can be easily unrecognizable in its activity. It's the ultimate tool for assisting humans to discover unsolved queries for our future. Are there any questions?